Hey everyone, it's me back once again, and on today's video I want to do something that's a tad bit from the ordinary, because I'm sure a lot of you know, judging by some of my previous content, how I used to do videos about the gig economy, what it may be pertaining to Lyft, Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, just to name a few of the gig economy, some of the top, by the way, gig economy based platforms. Anyway, I want to do a video on today on behalf of applying to become a U.S. Postal Service carrier, mail carrier, delivering mail, to make it more plain and simple, just in case some of you may not be familiar with that job title. By me being a current USPS Postal Service employee, and even though I'm not a mail carrier for the time being, however, I am a mail handling assistant, which means that my job is more physically demanded by how I have to, most of the time, lift upwards to 70 pounds while handling mail, because I'm a production employee, also who works at a local warehouse handling all the mail that's supposed to be shipped and delivered out. Anyway, even though, like I was just saying, I'm not a mail carrier, and just in case I may have not said that or specified that, my current job title is not as a mail carrier. However, and if everything goes just fine, I'm aspiring to become a mail carrier within the near future, due to, one, how you have more independence and more freedom. In other words, you don't have to worry about going to an overseer or manager, to make it more plain and simple, to get permission to go on your 15-minute break, what it may be, a 15-minute break, rest break, short rest break, or a lunch break, because for the most part, you're working on your own, driving around delivering mail. Second of all, you don't have to worry about being micromanaged either. In other words, don't have to worry about a manager guiding you on every exact detail or task you're about to be doing while delivering mail. After all, how much more harder can delivering mail be? Okay, to sum it all up though, I want to provide some screenshots on how to go by filling out the Postal Service application on behalf of becoming a mail carrier. As we speak, there is a mail carrier position that's available in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama. With that being said, here it goes. Hey everyone, it's me back once again, and on today's video I want to do something that's a tad bit from the ordinary, because I'm sure a lot of you know, judging by some of my previous content, how I used to do videos about the gig economy, what it may be pertaining to Lyft, Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, just to name a few of the gig economy, some of the top, by the way, gig economy based platforms. Anyway, I want to do a video on today on behalf of applying to become a U.S. Postal Service carrier, mail carrier, delivering mail, to make it more plain and simple, just in case some of you may not be familiar with that job title. By me being a current USPS Postal Service employee, and even though I'm not a mail carrier for the time being, however, I am a mail handling assistant, which means that my job is more physically demanded by how I have to, most of the time, lift upwards to 70 pounds while handling mail, because I'm a production employee, also who works at a local warehouse handling all the mail that's supposed to be shipped and delivered out. Anyway, even though, like I was just saying, I'm not a mail carrier, and just in case I may have not said that or specified that, my current job title is not as a mail carrier. However, and if everything goes just fine, I'm aspiring to become a mail carrier within the near future, due to one, how you have more independence and more freedom. In other words, you don't have to worry about going to an overseer or manager, to make it more plain and simple, to get permission to go on your 15-minute break, what it may be, a 15-minute break, rest break, short rest break, or a lunch break, because for the most part, you're working on your own, driving around delivering mail. Second of all, you don't have to worry about being micromanaged either. In other words, don't have to worry about a manager guiding you on every exact detail or task you're about to be doing while delivering mail. After all, how much more harder can delivering mail be? Okay, to sum it all up though, I want to provide some screenshots on how to go by filling out the Postal Service application on behalf of becoming a mail carrier. As we speak, there is a mail carrier position that's available in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama. With that being said, here it goes. Okay, everybody, so here's some screenshots of the application on behalf of the U.S. Postal Service pertaining to filling out an application for a job opportunity that you may be interested in. And as you can see, this is some of my information, so I'm going to proceed to the next screen. Also, this is pertaining to both your previous and your current work experience, which has to trace back to at least 5 years. I'm going to zoom in some so you all could get a much more better view of what to expect once you complete the application or are in the process of completing the application. By the way, make sure you're as truthful as possible, otherwise your application will get rejected due to you putting false information on the application. So I'm going to proceed to the very next page, which will be pertaining to your educational background, whether you may have even dropped out of high school, however, may have went back to get your GED, or you may have finished high school and then had further your education by going to college or trade school. You could also include that information as well for some extra formal education information. Okay, on this next page, it's pertaining to your general eligibility, including have you registered before to get drafted to be in the military, whether it may be on behalf of the U.S. Army, Navy, Marines, things of that nature. Whether you also use illegal drugs. And for some of you who may still think that marijuana isn't a drug, and don't get me wrong, lots of people use it for recreational purposes as well as medical purposes, but it still is a drug, no matter how people try to debate that it's not a drug. Also, at the very last of the screen, you'll see does the Postal Service employ any relatives of yours by blood or by marriage. Personally, I look at that as a conflict of interest. Even if you may have some relatives that's that's related to you, some actual blood relatives who already work for the Postal Service. Even if you may have some in-laws who work for the Postal Service. Don't get me wrong, I have a grand cousin, in other words, a cousin of one of my first cousins, or to make it more plain and simple, one of my first cousin's kids who works for the Postal Service. But I didn't include him on the application. And I also have an uncle-in-law. For some of you who may not be familiar with that term, most people may usually say auntie or uncle. He is actually married to one of my aunts. I didn't include him on the application as well. So it's strictly up to you whether you would like to use a relative or not. Okay, On the next page, and I'm trying to go through this application process as quickly as possible. This is pertaining to your driver's license information, as well as your motor vehicle history, including whether you have had your license suspended or revoked within the past 3 years, whether you have been convicted of reckless or careless driving. And if you have, people, please still be honest, because even if you put no, but you may have been in a reckless accident within the past 3 years, it will get found out about as soon as there is an investigation done on your motor vehicle report. So like I was just saying a couple minutes ago, be as specific and truthful as possible while filling out the application. So I'm going to fill out in these circles, otherwise I won't be able to proceed to the very next page. So for these next couple of questions pertaining to my motor vehicle information, I'm going to put no, because don't get me wrong, I have been in a car accident, but the last car accident that I was in was almost 19 years ago. So that would be, for the most part, irrelevant, even if I had been in a car accident that long ago. So it's also asking for one of the other questions, are you willing to work a flexible schedule? I put yes. By the way, I am a mail handling assistant. Although I work a set schedule from 6 p.m. until most of the time 4 a.m. that morning, my schedule is still subject to change anytime and without my permission or consent, by me being a non-career employee, which is technically a temporary employee. Don't get me wrong, you may work full-time hours still as a non-career employee, but you don't have the kind of benefits that an actual career regular employee would have. So I'm going to complete the rest of these questions, which I'm answering mostly yes to. The only ones that I didn't answer yes to was the ones pertaining to my motor vehicle history information, because I have been, over the past 3 years, having a good driving record. So on the next page, it's asking for your veteran's preference. Now, if you may have been in the military prior to applying for the Postal Service, then you are allowed to pick yes for all of these questions, or pretty much all of them. However, by me never being in the military before, or not being a military veteran, I picked no to every last question on this page. I'm going to proceed to the next page. Okay, for this particular page, it's asking you what application source did you hear about the position of, because this position, I'm showing it right at the very top, is on behalf of a city carrier assisted position. And for all you who may not be familiar with that, what they do is deliver mail from house to house, and they do more walking. That, for some of you who may not know the difference between a rural carrier and a city carrier, rural carriers don't do as much walking due to them delivering in rural neighborhoods, where in most cases the mailboxes are usually right on the street in front of the houses. But city carriers have to do more walking. I don't recall how many yards or whatnot within a day, but they do actually have to do more walking while delivering mail. So on the next page, it's asking what you like to include in attachments, whether it may be a cover letter, resume. By the way, these will be the formats they will have to be in, as you will see: doc, text, PDF, HTML, HTM, TIF, GIF, JPEG, JPG, whatever that means, and XLS. Any of those formats. And you can also put your summary of accomplishments, what it may have been you being part of a math club, science club when you were in high school, just to name a few, for example. You can also, not only that, include some of your previous professional references. What I mean by professional is work-related references that are very familiar with your work or have worked with you for X amount of months or years and may be very familiar with you. And it could even be with your most current employer if you're working right now for another employer. So you could definitely pick those, just to quote unquote be able to get your foot in the door that much more faster to work for the Postal Service. On this next page, it's asking for my driving history again. Yes, I do have a valid driver's license, state driver's license, so I put yes to that. Is asking for the second question, have I had my valid driver's license for at least the past 2 years? Yes. Okay, but for these last two questions, which it could be somewhat tricky, have you been found guilty of a moving violation within the last 5 years? No. And the very last question, have you been in an accident in the last 5 years? No. And even if you have not been in a car accident within the last 5 years, but you may put yes, or excuse me, if you have been in a car accident, let me rephrase that, within the last 5 years, but may put no on the application. Once again, there will be a motor vehicle check done on behalf of your motor vehicle history. Going back, by the way, going back to as far as 5 years. It's okay. For this next page, it's just asking for whether you have went by any other names in the past. Also, with all previous addresses you have lived at within the last 5 years as well. By the way, I'm assuming that for the names you have used in the past, beginning with the most recent and working backward, that it may possibly could include some nicknames as well. So you may want to, if hired for the position, whether it may be for a mail carrier, IT position, mail processing clerk, mail distribution clerk, you may, during the orientation process, have to seek further information as far as that goes. So I'm going to proceed to the very next page. It's asking for your ethnicity, race, and sexual orientation as well. So I'm going to pick black, which some of you kind of already figure I am. So I'm headed to the next page. Therefore, I shall be pretty much done after completing this information. And you don't have to read all this information while filling out the application. However, it is much more beneficial, I would like to say, just so you can know what to expect that much more on behalf of working for the Postal Service. And this very last page is pertaining to just verifying that all the information you have completed on the application or during the application process is truthful as possible. Because there will be a background check done on you, including a criminal background check as well, in order to consider you for whatever position you are to apply for or were to apply for. With that being said, I'm going to finalize the application. Bear with me because the application process could take a while sending you to the next page. And there you have it, people. Thank you for applying for employment with the U.S. Postal Service. Your application was sent. On that note, you shall receive an email once you were to complete the process and get to this here page saying that your application was done, therefore you will just have to wait for someone to contact you on whether you will consider for the position that you applied for or not. Now, if push comes to shove and you may not be chosen for whichever position you may have applied for, don't sweat it or don't stress about it, because there will be numerous other opportunities available on behalf of the Postal Service. And one, you may not again get chosen for the one position that you may have so desired to work for, even if it may be your very first time ever filling out a U.S. Postal Service application. By the way, you have to be at least 16 years of age when a high school diploma or either a GED to apply for the age requirement as well. You will also not only get an inbox message, but the inbox message will specify how not only that you applied for whichever position you applied for verification and confirmational purposes, but it'll also say if you've been chosen for the position, then somebody from HR or personnel will be contacting you in a not so distant future. However, and let's say you hypothetically get denied the position, you would get an email inbox message saying that you were not chosen for the position. Now, in most cases, the inbox message won't specify why you did not get considered for the position. However, don't always let that deter you from applying for other future positions, because there are positions posted like crazy, especially since it's almost the Christmas season, and by it being almost in October, if I'm not mistaken, usually when it's October, that's when more employees are hired, or there are new people coming in as part of the peak season, because Christmas is usually a few weeks away, if I'm not mistaken, right after Columbus Day. That's when the workload or the volume of mail is much more heavier due to how it's usually really that much more close to Christmas time. And with all that being said, I wanted to conclude this video, and for all of you who are just focus on applying for whether it may be a carrier position, mail handling position, because I'm a mail handler, I'll say it once again, whether it may be a mail processing clerk, or it could be something much more higher on the corporate ladder. It could be to become a postmaster, because you may have had experience as a postmaster working at another postal branch or whatnot. Or it could be a custodian. If not a custodian, it could be working as an IT technician, because the jobs and careers with the Postal Service are not only some of the most highest paying positions, even if you're a custodian, the lowest you can make as a custodian is around $16 an hour, which is not bad at all. Anyway, I'm just saying all this to say and motivate you all to never ever give up on your dreams. Even if you've been aspiring or contemplating to become a postal service employee ever since you've been a small kid, if you just keep the faith, stay prayed up, and just do all you can to be more and more motivated to keep on applying for more positions that match your interests, you will eventually get chosen for one. Now, don't get me wrong, it may not be the exact position that you may desire. In due time, though, you will end up getting chosen for a position when perseverance, when persistence, most of all, confidence and faith. So, when all that being said and on that note, have a blessed day.